Hey guys, we've got another build, and this time we're playing grenades. Now, generally, grenades tend to feel a little bit clunky, but with a little bit of investment, they actually feel pretty good. Initially, I was considering running this on Chronomancer, but I looked at POB and didn't really seem to make that big of a difference. Instead, I just opted out for Deadeye for +1 grenade, right? So I'll show you how it plays, then we're gonna go over everything. I'm gonna run a pretty easy map, but you know, we have penetration, so even if the mobs do have resistances, it doesn't matter. And of course, I had to kind of convert this whole thing into cold because, well, fire just sucks, right? So, well, there's nothing here. So I made this build feel pretty good since we also have Herald of Ice. The explosions are very satisfying. The biggest downside of this build is that you can't see anything, and my PC can't yet again completely run it properly. Okay, kind of cursed to cook builds that I can't run, but it is what it is. But overall, I actually had more fun with this build than I initially thought I would, because it does feel pretty smooth. Like, you just throw the grenades into them and then you run at them. And by the time you're there, you're also getting the bonus damage from point blank, from Deadeye as well. And of course they are frozen most of the time. We do have a good amount of stun as well, so even if they're not frozen, they're probably stunned. But mobs are dying fast. Comfortable clear. Breaches are also pretty comfortable. The only thing is that in breaches I do tend to run out of charges. But honestly, it's not that big of a deal. And also, I don't know if it's just my PC or something, but sometimes it shoots twice for me. I don't know why. I want to shoot once, but sometimes it shoots twice. Which does tend to suck a little bit. So let's find that boss and that breach. Of course, yet again, I had to find a map that is both with breach and boss. So running this, although decay isn't that bad, right? Like, it's pretty good. Just that the mobs tend to explode, but we have cold damage, so... Oh, that guy's still alive. We have cold damage, so the mobs don't really explode after death most of the time. Okay, we see the boss. So against the boss, if you want, you can use the ballista to like stack up rage, right? And you can also use this, but generally what I do is I just throw the grenades and then they freeze, and then I shoot my rapid fire shot, stack up my my extra scald, and then you just explode them, because when this is fully stacked up, you get like 150 or something as extra fire. So, you know, it increases our damage by quite a bit. So the damage is fine. It's not that good. I did try Zesh 3, and yet again, I was lacking damage to properly do it. The defenses are good. I actually tanked the hand slam as well. So, you know, the defenses are pretty good somehow on a Deadeye. So the only complaint for this build is pretty much just performance issues. Other than that, I actually like it a lot. Well, I mean, obviously damage could be better, but if you have an ingenuity, right, with pretty good breach rings, then you're probably fine. Although my current breach rings are pretty good damage-wise. I tried to focus on damage on them, and it's still not the best. Like, the damage against pinnacle bosses is still a little bit lagging. Of course, if you just want to do like 1 or 2, like Zesh 1 or Zesh 2, you're gonna be fine. But right now on Zesh 3, I am kinda struggling a little bit. Although I did only try once, so maybe with more skill, if there's less skill issue, it's possible to do. So the breach, you know, breach is good. But as I've said, I can't really see anything. Maybe I'll remove the map. Just run and they explode. One vulnerability mob. I am out of charges though. Got him. I'm actually near the starting area. Nice. So yeah, I mean the breaches are fine. Pretty satisfying to explode everything. Not only the skill itself, you know, explodes twice, but also Herald of Ice. So overall, very solid. I like it. So let's go over the passive tree first, because there's a couple of things that you need to do to make this build feel good. One thing that you need is obviously reduced skill duration, so we're taking these, as well as we have this anointed. And of course, then you also need AoE. So I grab pretty much every single AoE node that's available for me. Over here, over here, over here, and of course over here as well. And well, I mean, technically we could grab these as well, but kind of wasted stats, I think. So I don't know if you really need that much more, but what I have right now is enough. Of course, you do want a couple of levels on your explosive grenade, so it has more base AoE and in turn just more AoE in general, right? And after that, you do want to pretty much grab every single grenade node. This is a pretty good spot, especially since we can't use the stats. This build does require a couple of items with stats, sadly, so you can run Herald of Ice. So we have these. This one's not that great, to be honest. You can probably skip this one. This is just quality of life. Attack speed doesn't really matter too much for us, but you know, blind is nice. And then this 15% more damage, basically, right? Fuse duration sadly is increased, but one additional projectile. You could potentially consider dropping this and just slotting in another damage mod instead of the one projectile, because right now I have less skill effect duration over here, so you could compensate for that. So you know, play around. If you like the build, you know, just play around, min-max it if you want, because this is currently on level 89, but overall I feel like it's in a pretty good spot. Just some build up over here, some proj damage. This is a pretty good spot for Time Loss Jewel. If you can get increased effect on a large radius and increased cooldown, but those are pretty expensive. I looked, I think it was like 10 divines plus. So, you know, just on your jewels, just prioritize cooldown recovery and damage with crossbows, and then I managed to get some evasion rating over here. I think I have here as well, yeah. And over here, yep, also evasion rating. So, you know, evasion rating is pretty good. We are using Wind Dancer, so we can definitely make use of it. And other than that, you know, you just have to play around with stats. This I only recently introduced. It helps against bosses, against Zesh 3, for example, to not run out of mana that much. We do have a little bit of life regen. You don't need it, but you know, I have it, so figured might as well make use of this, right? And if you do end up with some life regen, you can definitely make use of this. If not, you can always just get this, I guess, if you want, or just pass towards another jewel socket for more damage. But yeah, this is the tree. Of course, we are grabbing some armor nodes, right? All the cooldown recovery nodes that are, well, except this one, because this one has increased skill effect duration, so we don't really want that. But yeah, other than that, you know, cooldown recovery, grenade nodes, AoE, and damage nodes. That's pretty much what you're looking for. So when it comes to skills, I have Scattershot in here. Now this technically is more damage, but not by much. If you were to sock it in, for example, Cold Infusion over here, although granted Cold Infusion I think makes you lose damage from Rapid Shot, so probably you don't want to do that. I'm not sure though, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works, but not 100% sure. So Scattershot, you know, obviously good, especially while leveling. This is really good. Less skill effect duration, so it doesn't feel bad. This I only suggest slotting in when you have a bunch of CDR already, because you know, 70% reduced skill cooldown recovery rate. So you pretty much have to have all the nodes in the tree to use this. But once you do have enough, this is 50% more damage, more AoE. You don't really need this against bosses, but for map clear, you kind of want it, right? So I mean, technically, there's two nodes that you could two gems that you could swap out for more damage if you want to play with that. But this is kind of like the general setup that I'm running. And of course, primal armament. Now, rapid shot I have in here with more attack speed, crossbow reload speed, and inspiration, because for some reason this thing costs a lot of mana, 345 as you can see, and well, with inspiration and all the converts, it's not that bad, 119 and 75 life. So probably you know you want this in here. Herald of Ice, so I have it level 18 because I got a bunch of intelligence from, well, from the tree as well as from items. I have some stats on items, so I managed to get a pretty good level Herald of Ice. Elemental Focus in here, Cold Infusion, Execute, and Inevitable Critical, you know, just whatever nodes, whatever gems that you can suck it in, just, you know, use them. Ripwire Ballist I have with all three fonts, Rage, Life, and Mana, and Persistence, because we are stacking reduced skill effect duration, so the totem duration is pretty low. Even if we stand in there for all 11 seconds, we're still only at 22 rage, so, you know. And I have overwhelming presence in here, because we do stun a lot for some reason. Well, I mean, I do have a bunch of nodes that give me stun as well. And freeze quite well. Not as good as stun, but still pretty good. Against mobs, the freeze is plenty. Although if the mobs have increased ailment threshold, the Herald of Ice does tend to proc much less, so, you know, there's that. And Wind Dancer with Clarity in here, just for some mana regen. Level 14 only, and the Overwhelming Presence only level 12, because I wanted to prioritize Herald of Ice for, you know, better clear. But honestly, Overwhelming Presence is fine, because the gem quality makes up for it. And Wind Dancer, well, 18 is plenty. I think another breakpoint is at level 17 or 18, but I don't really want to invest 50 more decks into this. So these are the gems. And for the items, so to make this whole thing work, you need blue flame bracers, so we convert all the fire damage to cold. Just, you know, feels much better when you're freezing, and then you also have Herald of Ice proliferating or the explosions, right? And Pandemonious, since we can't really get much access to penetration where we are at on the passive tree, so I had to go yet again with Pandemonious. And for the rings, you want, well, you do want damage. Physical, fire, and cold all work, so whatever you can get is fine. And then, you know, life if you want, some stats or resistances, whatever else you need, right? Mana on kill is good, either on your crossbow or one of the rings, but it's not necessary. But if you don't have any mana on kill, you're gonna be pressing mana flasks while mapping, so that's, you know, not as good. So ideally you do want a little bit. Yeah, belt is just, you know, whatever. Resistances, life. I managed to get an armor belt. It's not necessary, obviously. Boots, again, resistances. And as I've said, if you can grab some life regen on one of the items, you know, do it. Not necessary, but if you don't have life on kill, then could be good. For the body armor, so I bought this actually just when I reached level 65 for like 50 exalts. It's still serving me well. The upgrades for the body armor are pretty expensive, so I'm just staying with this. But honestly, the build is pretty tanky. Almost 2.5k life. We have damage reduction from Tailwind. We have fully stacked up, I think 81%, yep, 81% evasion, 55 armor, so overall the build's pretty solid, right? Of course I have only 60 chaos, but you know, you can probably cap it out with better items. So yeah, this is the build, and yeah, like I said, the build is fun to play. Honestly, I enjoyed it, and you know, I only played it for 16 hours, level 89. I barely died. My last 5 deaths were in tier 16 irradiated map, so you know, that's where the struggle begins, kind of. But if you're just running tier 15s with easy mods, yeah, you're gonna have no issues at all. And also, I died 5 times in the campaign because I was negative res. But anyway, overall the build is very solid. More upgrades are a little bit hard to get though. This is sort of capped out. As I've said, you can get an ingenuity and get more damage from the rings, but that's honestly about it. You know, there's like nothing that you can get. You can path towards here and maybe grab some jewel, or I don't know. But yeah, this is the build, and I don't know, go blast some maps with it. It's pretty fun. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.